Hi guys, how you all doing? Welcome to lovely sunny Newcastle training ground this morning. Look at that sun over my shoulder. There's a fire going over there as well. Smells like you're on holiday. You've got the sun beating on the back of your neck. Smells like a barbecue over there. I don't know if you can see it. There was a fire earlier. But yeah, lovely. Feels like the beginning of spring. Lee Ryder just walked past me and said it feels like we're in Spain. So I think it's maybe taking it a bit too far, but anyway, compared to last Friday when we had that horrendous storm that swept through the north of the country, this is a lot nicer. So anyway, here we are. We've just heard from Eddie Howe this morning. Before we get onto that, don't know whether I should be doing this again, because obviously I spoke about it in depth the other day and then again on the loaded podcast the other day, but I just thought to try and put the situation to bed, the Sky Isak narrative, whatever. I suppose I want to apologise for posting that video the other day that is obviously incited a bit of or thrown fuel onto the fire. I didn't mean to do that at all. I was posting that video just to try and give a bit of context from Mark McAdam's point of view, from Sky's point of view, from my point of view really, and just to tell you what it's like on the ground for me, and the fact that there's never ever any instruction from Sky for me to like sell a player to a club. It just wouldn't happen, and if anyone ever asked me to do that, I would probably have to question why I'm doing this job. So I did that video for those reasons. Look, I think what I've said has probably been taken out of context, because I got to the stage there where there was over 800 comments. I hadn't read all of them, nowhere near all of them. I'd probably read about 100 of them. And they were kind of getting more and more negative, and I was told I was patronising, I was condescending, I was gaslighting, I was poisonous, and then finally the final straw for me was one I read that said that I was racist because I compared Isak to Thierry Henry, and I just thought, you know what, I'm not reading this anymore. It's actually affected me here reading some of this. I would like to think that over the years I've built up enough credit with you guys as fans that I'm doing the job for the right reasons. I want you guys to do well. I want you to win trophies. I've got a real feeling you're going to win the Carabao Cup this year, and I can't wait to be down there at Wembley covering it. I really hope you win, and reporting on moments like that are why you get into the game. Now obviously there's still a long way to go until there. I've just got a feeling this is your year, and I'm excited for what's to come for you guys. And this job over the last 3 years has been 10 times more fun than it was beforehand. You guys were existing as fans pre-takeover. That was the same for us guys as reporters in the Northeast. But the last sort of 3.5 years has been really good fun. I've loved the journey. I love the relationship. I've got with you guys. And I'm just a little bit sad that I've read some of the stuff I did. So I just want to apologise that if anything I said was taken wrongly. I did that video the other day to I did it just to try and almost just calm the situation down and add a bit of context and try and make you realise that it's not all what it seems. And although we have these transfer shows where we've got bloggers and YouTubers and all sorts on, they're there just to give an opinion. They don't have any information, but they're there just to, it's almost like a chat show. That doesn't mean that Isak is leaving. Quite the opposite, in fact. I think it's been made pretty clear that it would take an unbelievable offer to get him out of Newcastle. Arsenal clearly can't afford him. That is why they're going for Ollie Watkins at £60 million. We all know Isak would cost probably 3 times that. So yeah, but look, I don't even want to talk about it anymore, because I think that's just sort of fanning the flames, and I just kind of would like to move on from it. I'm hoping you guys will as well. But as I said in the loaded transfer show the other night, I enjoy reporting on the positive things for the football team, and never has there been any instruction from anyone to link Isak to Arsenal. It's not the case. Certainly from my point of view on the ground, I don't even think I've mentioned him and Arsenal, apart from talking to you guys about the situation over the last week. It's nothing I've even spoken about, because I've got no information to say that Arsenal were even interested or in for him. So hopefully we're on the same page, and yeah, once more apologies if my video angered or frustrated you, which it appears it did, and that wasn't my intention at all. So anyway, let's move on. We're here at the training ground today. Huge week coming up for Newcastle, 2 massive games at James's Park, of course Fulham in the league. You wouldn't really say it's a massive game, but if you win tomorrow it sets you up nicely for Wednesday. And also I think there's a feeling within the camp that they want to right the wrongs of the Bournemouth game 2 weeks ago, and also that result showed, that performance as well showed that teams can come to St James's Park and win. And if Newcastle aren't up to speed and Newcastle aren't at it from the word go, teams can score, and Arsenal could come there on Wednesday night and turn you over if you guys are not at it. I think Eddie Howe is well aware of that. So 2 huge games. But of course you guys will want to talk about and hear about transfers, and sadly it's not the news that you're going to want to hear. Eddie this morning said the sale of Miguel Almiron yesterday was a sale that they had to do for PSR reasons, essentially saying that they needed to sell someone in this window to ensure that they weren't in a situation, well that's my reading of it, to ensure they're not in a situation at the end of June like they were last year when they had to sell Anderson and Minty to try and balance the book. So with Almiron going now, that means that they won't need to sell someone early in the transfer window, and it just takes that it takes that worry away. However, there is on the flip side of that, why sell Almiron now then? Why not wait until then and sell him at the start of June? But maybe you can't get him out the door then, maybe the offer isn't there, the MLS season's in a different place, etc, etc. It's a risk, and Eddie Howe admitted that this morning. It's a risk, and he's well aware of that himself. He said we've only got one specialised right winger in the shape of Jacob Murphy. He needs help there. We're going to have to try a few different players in that position. He earmarked both Joe Linton and Will Osula for that role, and obviously said Harvey Barnes and Callum Wilson to come back once they're back, and if they're firing fit, that's going to help us enormously. There's a question mark over Wilson, you have to say, because he's broken down a couple of times now. I don't think you can rely on that. I think you probably can rely on Harvey Barnes, but then you'd need to play him or Gordon on the right, and neither of them want to play in that position, so that isn't ideal either. Look, they're going to have to take, either Gordon or Barnes is going to have to take one for the team, or he's going to have to move Joe Linton further forward, like Howe suggested. I don't really see Will Osula playing that position, maybe off the bench for 5-10 minutes here or there, but I can't see him starting a game in that position unless it's maybe an FA Cup tie, maybe against Birmingham away, might do something like that. But look, they want to go far in the cup, so I'm not sure whether even that's a stick on either. So look, without doubt they're light. Eddie said it's a deal that they had to do. I think I've said that there already. And then he was then pressed and asked about transfers and potential arrivals, and he said his phone's been busy going the other way, which suggested that he's been fending off calls from teams asking about his players, which I thought was quite a strong line. But look, he said that they will not be selling anyone. I mean, unless someone came to the table and offered an astronomical amount of money for one of the players that they couldn't refuse, Newcastle will not be selling or adding. I expect Matt Targett to go. I've not really put this out anywhere yet, but I was told yesterday that there has been some talks with Leeds, but Leeds were waiting to find out what was happening with their left back Junior Firpo. There's some interest in him from Real Sociedad. If Firpo was to go, Targett could be an option there, but as it stands, Firpo is still a Leeds player. I've also been told that there's interest from Southampton and Watford in Matt Targett. I was also told previously a couple of weeks ago that Leicester were interested as well. So it feels like there's a bit of interest. He might go, but obviously he's not a starter anyway. So I think when Eddie says there'll be no departures, don't think he's including Matt Targett there. I think he means the likes of Sean Longstaff and any of the big name players, the big money players. That Newcastle could fetch a fee for. I think it would be suicidal for them to allow someone like Bruno or Isak to go now, because it wouldn't leave them enough time to replace, and especially when you've got a chance of this being a really, really special season. It rankles with me a little bit that you're in this position when you've got a chance of winning a cup. You look like you're going to get to Wembley if you can see off Arsenal. You've got a chance of finishing Champions League spot. So much on the line, so much to play for. You need a squad for that. You need options, and it feels like they're really running risk of injuries. You're one injury to an Isak or a Gordon away from having a real problem in the final third of the pitch, and it's a risk the club have taken or are taking, but it's obviously a risk that they feel they need to make. So from me, from a personal point of view, not looking forward to Monday. I'm going to be here at the training ground from 7 AM till 11 PM, probably later, the longest day in history. I'm going to bring my laptop with me. I'm going to get all my life admin done. I'm going to get all holidays, not all my holidays, make it sound like I go on loads of holidays. I'm going to get my flights booked for my holiday in the summer. I'm going to get all my expenses done. I'm going to shopping lists. I'm going to get all my admin done, because there's no way I'm going to be stood here at the training ground talking about potential arrivals for Newcastle. So it sounds as though this could be the quietest transfer deadline day ever for me covering Newcastle, which is a bit sad, because I think we all thought after the takeover that transfer deadline days would be good and they'd be fun, and a couple of them have been quite good. And yeah, a bit sad actually, because that's one of the things. Eddie was right at his press conference today. He said, you guys must be frustrated because you guys want to report on transfers. Yeah, Eddie, you're right. We are frustrated. We want to talk about transfers, just like you guys want to sign players, want to see their club sign players. But sadly, it sounds like you're going to have to make do with what you've got. What you do have, though, is a strong team at the moment. A really strong 11, a couple of good options off the bench. I think you've got world-class players in the shape of Isak, Tonali, Bruno. You know, Botman, once he's back and up to speed, you've got a real strong spine of the team there. I missed Anthony Gordon, you had forgot someone. And if you can keep those guys fit, you've got a chance of a special season. I really believe it, and I'll reiterate the words that I said at the beginning. I've got a feeling your name's on the cup this year. I didn't feel it 2 years ago. I did not feel it in that final against Man United, or even in the semis, but there's a feeling about this one that you're in a different position, you're in a stronger position. Eddie alluded to that this morning. He said, look, it's not as fresh and as new, and you know, we kind of know how to handle the situation better now than we did 2 years ago. So let's see what the next week brings. A good win against Fulham tomorrow, any win, 1-0, 2-1, anything, just win the game. Bounce into Wednesday, beat Arsenal. You've got a cup final to look forward to, and if you manage to keep everyone fit, and if you can get Barnes and Wilson back in and involved, the squad certainly looks a lot stronger. But again, you know, if you pick one or two injuries up, then you've got a problem. So it feels like it's going to be a delicate few months, and it feels like there could be a lot of different things that could happen, and a lot of it is dependent on luck and injuries. So leave your comments below, guys. As I say, I ended up making that video the other day private, just because there was a deluge of comments and it wasn't doing much for me reading them all. So it's still there, the video. I can make it public again for anyone who wants to see it, but I just can't be bothered going through the hundreds and hundreds of messages, and hopefully we can sort of move on from that, and hopefully you understand where I was coming from on the back of what I've said today. So leave your comments below. Nice to speak to you guys. I'll leave you a video after the Fulham game tomorrow. Have a nice Friday night. Cheers now. Bye bye.